Right, hello guys. Welcome to the channel. I finally made it to FM24. I'm almost a week late. Trying to get my FM23 save finished. The good news though, guys, is that I have finished it. You won't see the final episode for a few weeks yet because of how far ahead I am, how far I have to record ahead. But we've made it to FM24 and I have decided to do a Build the Nation save this time around. And we're going to do that in Bulgaria, and we're going to start off in the second tier. Obviously we're going to talk about what happens in a Build the Nation save, and I'll show you my setup that I use as well to do the game. So we've just loaded into a data. We're loading up to the database now. We can see that we've got the Bulgarian second tier selected. I've also made a custom database. Now there's several ways that you can do this. I'll give you a quick overview of what I've done. You can see that I've got 478,000 players loaded, and all you need to do is you come into this. 478 is a lot, by the way. I know that second yellow card he uses about 105,000, but I use more. You basically need to come into the continents, and you just add continents, and then for the sort of large 100,000 database, you basically want to tick on players based in nation, players from top division clubs, players from top clubs, players with continental reputation, and then players from clubs in continental competition. And that should give you about 105,000 players. I've got 478,000 in my game, which is a lot. It's a hell of a lot. So this is the setup that I'm going to use. I'm going to add players to playable teams. Obviously, I'm not going to disable attribute masking. I think it's a Build the Nation save. It works absolutely fine. So that is basically the setup. So then you just click Start Game. And here we are then, guys, as the manager of Bdin. Now, again, I've spent several hours setting the game up. I've got skins in, stadium packs. I've done the Kit Basher kits, but for some reason, I don't know why, it's not working for every team. Good news is it's working for ours, as you can see there in the background. But yeah, we've got skin. I'll leave links in the description for the skin. Obviously, the resource packs and stuff like that, the stadiums, the badges, they are all from FM Scout or Sorting Out SI. Just go and check them out. I'll leave a link to their websites as well in the description. But Bdin will ring in their centenary with the appointment of a new manager, Dean Talentire. Eyebrows have been raised in the world of football at the appointment of the inexperienced 37-year-old, and he's sure to face plenty of questions when he faces the media for the first time at Georgi Benkovsky. He replaces the previous manager, Zhivko Zhelev. This is going to be fun, isn't it? Doing the saying all these Bulgarian names. Right, a little brief history of the club. They were founded in 1923, so it's their centenary year. The reason I've chose them, they are newly promoted to the second tier, and you know that we love a challenge here on this challenge. They're newly promoted to the second tier, and the favourites to finish bottom. So that's our challenge, is to get them to the top. The board expect us to work within the wage budget, grow the club's reputation, attempt to avoid relegation from the Vitoria Liga, and that is about it really, guys. Obviously we're going to have a look around the club properly. You can see that we've got the skin in. I've set all my views up, stuff like that. I've been, like I say, it took me 6-7 hours setting everything up, getting I've even got new gang faces in, guys, as well, which, if you don't know, is it gives you your regens proper faces, and it works really, really well. Like Valentin Dmitriev here is a 15-year-old goalkeeper who just had the generic cartoony type face that Football Manager used. He's now got he now looks like he's about 25 instead of 15. There's a few more in the youth squad as well who are very similar. They tried to pass them off as 15. He's 16 apparently. But it's better than the generic Football Manager face. In terms of the club info, you can see that we have got the kits in there. I don't know why it won't work for some teams and it does for others. I really don't know at all. But Bdin Vidin, I think is the way it's pronounced. Like I say, newly promoted into the second tier. They've been languishing down in the third tier for quite some time before winning at the Velko Trnavo v Grupa at the end of last season. Decent facilities They're fairly decent. We've actually got numbers next to them this time, guys. They're out of 20. So yeah, fairly decent facilities. Like I say, I've got the badges in as me, just so we know what I look like. I'm starting right at the bottom, like I always do. £51,000 in the bank. We're already over that wage budget though, which is a disappointing. We do play at Georgi Benkovsky, as you can see, 15,000 capacity, which is fairly decent. And like I said, we are hoping to stave off relegation and build this team into something which can go on into the top echelons. Like I said, the goal of a Build the Nation save, guys, is to take the nation, not the actual what's it called? Not the actual international team, the actual nation itself, to the top. And you can see that Bulgaria are currently down in 26th place. So our aim is to get them to the top, and the way that we're going to do that is through Europe. You can see the coefficients. It's through earning coefficients and getting the team into Europe. So the first couple of seasons, guys, are going to be us getting ourselves into probably the top tier. We then have to go on to win the top tier, become the dominant force in the country, and then we basically become a loan farm to all the other teams in the division to try and boost them up as well, make their teams better basically, and get them into Europe, get them further in Europe, and build up their coefficients. You can see that it is Ludogorets Razgrad who are the dominant team here in Bulgaria. So that is our aim, to overthrow Ludogorets Razgrad, become the dominant team, and then start becoming a loan farm. But the first couple of seasons is going to be quite difficult to get ourselves into that sort of position. We obviously have to get into the top flight first of all. We do have some friendlies to go through, which I will go through with you now, and then I'll come back and we'll have a look and see if we made any signings, and go through our first game of charge, which is against Ludogorets Razgrad's second team. So I'll see you guys again in just a minute. Right guys, we've made it to the opening day of the season. I have played through the pre-season. It was quite a successful pre-season, but it's pre-season. Don't take anything from it. It could yet be it's just a pre-season at the end of the day. Club-wise, we're now in debt. We are £6,000 in debt. You can see that we're further over the wage budget because we have brought some players in. I still can't get the kits to work. I've been trying while I've been doing the pre-season, but I still can't get it to work. The reason why I've chosen Bulgaria as well over some of the other nations is the rules. I know we're in the second tier at the minute, but it doesn't really matter. But the match squad must have more than 2 non-EU players, which is fine in the second tier. And we have to have 2 Bulgarian under-21s in the starting 11. In terms of the top tier, it's 5 EU players, and that's it. You just can't have more than 5 non-EU players, which is fine. That's the reason why I've chosen Bulgaria. I did look at the likes of Latvia, Slovenia, Romania as well. Again, the rules were a little bit more. Well, Latvia didn't have a second tier, which is why I didn't do Latvia. There probably will be a second tier somewhere on one of the Football Manager websites that somebody's created. But once we get into the top tier, it's just no more than non-5 EU players, which is fine. Even if we do get Brazilians, Colombians, we can look for second nationalities for them that are EU countries. They do treat Ukraine and European free trade nations as EU. But let's get back into us, shall we? In terms of the transfer history, there's been a few come in. There has been a few come in, which is why I'm over the wage budget. I've managed to negotiate some of the larger wages down just a little bit as well. But the first one that we did bring in was Nikola Borisov. He is a centre-half, 22 years old, on £150 a week. He looks pretty decent as a centre-half. He is a decent player for the most Vitoria Liga sides. Unfortunately, he is inconsistent and he is injury prone, but he has got a little bit of value to him. So if we do have a good performance and his value could possibly increase, then he could be worth something to us. I've tried to move a few players on as well, guys, but nobody wants them. Todar Taushinov is the next one in. He's another central defender, but again, he's really, really good. My assistant doesn't think so. He thinks he's a lower league player, but I think he's quite good. He's 6'3". He's got good jump and reach. His pace is okay. His strength's okay. Heading's good. Marking, tackling, and his mentals are pretty good as well. I actually think he's a decent centre half, and he will get some game time for us this season. We've brought in Solomon James on loan from Maritza. He is a 20-year-old Nigerian. Now, one position that I am short in is the left back, and he's actually okay. This is a new thing as well for Football Manager 24. The players set themselves targets. It doesn't actually, when you click on that target thing, it doesn't actually show you it really. But if you go to your home screen and you see that, well, depending on your skin, on mine I've got targets up here, but I can see that he's achieving average match rating of 6.6 in competitive first team matches. That is pretty low. I would not be playing you at 6.6, mate, to be honest. And there's a few of them like that as well. It's mostly the lone players. Next in was Nikolai Kudev. He is a goalkeeper. He is a 18-year-old Bulgarian on £80 a week. We brought him in on a free transfer. More one possibly for the future, or some resale value in the future. He is in as a future prospect. Vasilin Markov is yet another centre half. Again, fairly decent, 6 foot, good jump and reach, good heading, tackling and mentals are decent as well. Again, another free transfer. He's got a little bit of value to him. Only in as a fringe player and on £100 a week. So again, he could see some game time this season. Sheriff Osman is another one in on loan. He is a 20-year-old Ghanaian, and again with a target set. He's a central midfielder, fairly decent for that sort of position. My assistant doesn't seem to think so though, but don't take any note of that, guys. Just pay attention to the attributes, and you'll be absolutely fine. And then the last one in is another loan. It's a Greek, Petros Abakoutsis, another central midfielder, actually more of a defensive midfielder. No, sorry, the other one was the defensive midfielder. This one's a central midfielder. Again, fairly decent, 22-year-old Greek, in on loan. We're not paying any of the wages for the loan players. So, I've got a load of trials in as well, guys. Some very, very good players, like Shahir Pedromo, who I'm trying to sign, but I can't afford to pay his wages. We've got Thiago Almeida, right back, another good one who I can't afford to sign. The goalkeeper, Calansea, is another good one who I can't afford the wages, which is disappointing. In terms of what that's done, all those signings for our odds in the league, is it has improved them. Not massively though. We're now not the favourites to finish bottom. It's now Chernomorets Balchik who are favourites to finish bottom, but it's the same odds as us. But we're not too far behind the pack in front, so I do think that we can have a good season. In terms of relegation, it's the bottom 4 who get relegated, so we have to stay out of that bottom 4. The biggest issue that we're going to have, obviously CSK 1948 and Ludogorets second teams can't get promoted. But the biggest issue we're going to have is the finances. And if we look at the projection, we predict we're not going to have any money, basically. You don't get a lot of money coming in the Bulgarian second tier. You do get a little bit of TV money, but it's not a lot, as you can see here for the home games. It's probably just about enough. It's not even enough to cover the wages and appearance fees, really, is it? Yeah, not good. Right, we're going to get into the first game of the season, guys, and we're going to meet the squad as well. Meet our, what I think is the best lineup, with 221 players in there, which we have to play, of course, in this division. And hopefully we can get a good result. In terms of the tactic, guys, by the way, I did nothing special. I haven't done anything. I've literally created a new tactic. I've clicked Gegenpress, choose a formation, and I've just gone with the first one there. That's all I've done. It is the bog standard 4-3-3 Gegenpress DM wide. I've done nothing yet. I haven't looked at tactics. That was something I will work throughout the season, whether I create my own, or I've got plans to do tactic tests this season on a more regular basis than I did in FM23, because my FM23 just took up so much time. This one hopefully is going to be a little bit more relaxed, and I can just work through it as and when. If we don't do it, we don't do it. Thing with my FM23 save, of course, is that I set myself the goal of winning every top flight division. and I got to the point where it's like, I have to finish now. I have to finish this. If we don't get to the top, because it's really, really hard to get above, particularly England, who are always at the top. They've always got good European teams. If I don't get there, I don't get there. Let's just see how far we can get them. Last season, I put too much pressure on myself to get it finished, and it took over my life, basically. This season, it wants to be a little bit more relaxed, so I can do some other things as well. Tactic tests, some experiments. I want to do some like director of football type saves, where I don't manage the team. I do the signings, and I hire my assistant manager. We'll call him the head coach, a bit like Tony Mowbray is at Sunderland. And go from there. But our first starting lineup for the season, we're going to have a Vasilev in goal. He's one of the ones whose contract I did manage to negotiate down. He was on £170 a week. He's now on 140. Big savings, I know. He is going to be the starting goalkeeper for now until I hopefully can bring somebody else in. He's okay. He's okay, but you got to remember we're effectively a third tier Bulgarian team. At right back is going to be Zahirev. I think I'm saying these right. Radoslav Zahirev. Right full back, he is one of the under 21s who I've got on the side, 18-year-old. He guy's got loads of potential, to be fair to him. My assistant thinks he's absolutely awful, but he's got decent pace. He can cross the ball. His defending attributes aren't too bad. It could be something for him. We've got Dishev, who was already at the club. Dishev, he's one of the centre halves for today. Was he already at the club? Is he one I signed? Yes, he was already at the club. So he's going to start at centre half today. 6 foot again, got good jump and reach, decent pace, heading, fairly decent. And alongside him is going to be Borisov. He is one of our signings, Nikola Borisov. Again, 6'1", decent heading, pace, etc. It's going to be Solomon James as the left back, the on loan Nigerian. He has just come back from an injury, so he's not quite match fit, but we are short on left backs. I have been playing Aitov at left back in pre-season. He can play there, and I've been playing him as an inverted winger, inverted wing back, because he can't, because he hasn't got a left foot, and he actually did okay, to be fair to him. But he's going to be a Carolero for this season. Is Aitov as a Carolero? Not a position I normally play with. Obviously, I am going to play around with tactic and stuff like that, but he is actually pretty decent as a Carolero. He's the 27-year-old Bulgarian. Defensive midfield is going to be a deep line playmaker on defend, and it's going to be Svetkov. Again, absolutely fine as that position, deep line playmaker. Fine, 35-year-old. He's actually a player coach at the club. And we've then got Valkov in the centre of the park. Not great, but he's one of the under 21s. He's going to be centre mid on support. 2 inside forwards. We've got Stanimirov. I think that says Stanimirov. Right footed, so on this left hand side as an inside forward. Actually not too bad. Done okay in pre-season as well. On the right hand side it's going to be Ivanov. Again, fairly decent. He hasn't got a left foot though, unfortunately, for a inside forward. My assistant doesn't seem to rate him. I don't think he's too bad. And then up top we have got Lashkov for today, who is a fairly decent. We play with a pressing forward in this system. He's actually fairly decent. 28-year-old. He's not the starter though. The starter's actually currently injured, and that will be Todorov. Todorov is the man who will be starting up top. Again, he's actually quite decent as a pressing forward on attack. He's fairly decent, and he will be the man who starts up top for us today, for the season. So that is our first lineup, guys. That is the first tactic you see. Like I say, it will change throughout the course of the season. Let's go on and face against Ludogorets' second team. We'll just auto number them. And we'll get into the match where hopefully we can pick up a decent result. Right, and here we go. Obviously, Ludogorets' second team are the favourites for this game. They also have the ability to put some of their first team players into the second team for match fitness. But the new match engine, by the way, guys, I know it's not a new match engine, but the updated graphics and stuff like that, they actually look pretty decent, to be fair. And we've got our skin in as well. It's the SAS 24 skin. They used SAS 23 last season. SAS has updated it and it looks very, very good. And we get our first highlight, and it is Vasilev finding Dishev. Just make sure I'm on key highlights. I am indeed. We've played the ball forward, gone along over the top there. It's Lashkov's in. It's a good save by the goalkeeper, Histrov. I think Lashkov was given offside anyway. But we were in there straight away. A long ball over the top. It's Zahilev to Shvetskov. Dishev into the centre of the park. And it's Stanmirov. Stanmirov down this left-hand side. Cuts inside onto that favoured right foot. Goes for goal from range. And it's a little bit poor. If the highlights there do look a little bit stuttery, guys, I think my laptop's struggling with it just a little bit. Maybe so I could turn some of the graphics down a touch. It only happens when I've got OBS open and I'm recording. It's fine other times. It could be a little bit stuttery, and although looking at it on OBS, it actually looks fine. It's just on my laptop screen it seems to be stuttering. But Dishev with the ball, which is why I struggle to read the names as well, guys, because it takes a little while for them to catch up. And I'm not used to them yet either. Stamirov's lost out there. He's tackled well by the Ludogorets man, and now Ludogorets looking to come forward. They've worked it nicely towards our penalty area, but the Solomon James, the man on loan, the Nigerian, it does well to get back and feeds the ball back to Vasilev. Vasilev picks out nobody, picks out a Ludogorets player, and now Ludogorets come forward again. And Petar Kirev has given Ludogorets the lead in the 14th minute of the game. But the skin, by the way, guys, looks absolutely fantastic. It's actually a tablet. You can see it's a tablet. And we've got all the information that we need on the screen. I might change that XG match story because it doesn't seem to work fantastically well. I might put something else in there. I also need the league table up here, don't I? Which is the way I have it. There we go. Yeah. Looks, we'll probably be looking at the bottom of the table this season, guys. We're actually not playing. We're playing much better than Ludogorets, to be fair. They've only had one shot so far, and it's the one that's gone in. But we've had a couple of shots now. We're actually more possession as well. We're actually playing quite well against Ludogorets' second team. And as we approach half time, you can see that reflected in the match stats there on the bars. We're actually doing pretty well. Right, so approaching the hour mark now. Ludogorets are actually, they've got more momentum in the second half. You can see that in this match momentum bars here. Ludogorets sort of controlling the game really, and we're not really offering anything going forward. We're actually not doing too great going forward. I'm going to make a couple of changes to those front three if I've got the players. We'll get Ushgalov on at top. He's a young, I think he's a under 21 player. He's 20. Yes, he is, which is good because I need to take these off, and I'm sure one of them's under 21. We're going to get Nikolov on the right hand side. We'll bring Stamirov off. I don't have a left-sided player. He's the one who's playing the worst as well on a 6.1. We're just going to stick Belotti on. Hopefully that does the trick for us. Again, I'm quite short on certain positions. I really need to get to the end of this season before I can maybe start moving some players on, start bringing some in, let the youth system populate. As we've scored. Christian Valkov with a deflected effort. It's gone in off the post. And our season's underway, guys. We're up and running, and we scored our first goal. And it was very, very lucky, but it's going to be a point on the board. It's Shahirev with the throw-in down the line towards Ushgalov. We've not made those substitutions. No, we have. He's come on. Valkolov's effort is deflected off the defender. Beats Hristov off the inside the post and in. And we've levelled the game on the opening day of the season. And we're about to get our first point on the board, providing we can hold on. It's Petrov to take this this corner. He goes towards the edge of the area. I've got nobody there. They've had the effort. That might be my way. I've set up the new set piece thing. I might not have anybody lurking on the edge of the area. I've got two players on posts. You can do that now. But I've got nobody there. But Bdin with the ball. We've fed it to the left-hand side. It's Solomon James, the Nigerian, on loan. Coming forward. Needs some support though. Comes all the way back to Bozarov. Gives it back to James. Now Shvechkov. Into Aitov. Valkov, the goal scorer, going for his second. Oh, Hristov's made a great save to deny us the opening day win in front of an empty stadium. James comes across to take the corner though. In swinging on that left foot. Should be aiming near post if I've set the set pieces up right. Does go near post. It's headed clear by the defender though. It's going to go out of play for a throw-in. We're into the final couple of minutes here, guys, on the opening day. We still have highlights though. It's Dichev to Borisov. Borisov into Valkov, the goal scorer. Into Belotti. Of course, playing out of position is Belotti. Almost gives it away, but Borisov gets there. Finds Dichev. Forced all the way back to Vasilev in goal. And it's Borisov again. Back to Vasilev again. Finds Dichev. Dichev out wide to the right hand side. We've now worked it forward down the wing. It's Nikolov into Aitov, but he's tackled by Petrov. Lots of obs in Bulgaria. And now it's Ludogorets' second team with control of the ball. They're coming forward down this left hand side. That's a good ball forward. Put your arm down, son. Just play to the whistle. Zaharev cuts it out, and Dichev gets rid. It finds no, he doesn't. It's cut out again by the Ludogorets man. Driving down this right hand side. Oh no! No, Petrov scored. Petrov scored. We give the ball away. Konstantinov does really well. That's a great low cross, and it's a great finish at that near post by Petrov. And unfortunately, we find ourselves behind in injury time at the end of the game, in front of 322 fans, guys. So, you know, I was saying we've got a 15,000 seat stadium. There's 300 turned up. We actually played quite well. We did actually play quite well, but Ludogorets' second team were heavy favourites for that. They've got some decent players, and like I say, they can use the first team players in this squad. But I'm not too disheartened with that, to lose that. Hopefully, although I've just told the players I'm not happy, hopefully that's the way we've played is a sign of things to come, and we can continue to play like that and get ourselves somewhere up near the top. Hopefully we can get promoted this season. That would be ideal. But welcome to Football Manager 24, guys. Welcome to our save. We're doing a build the nation in Bulgaria. I'm possibly going to come back halfway through the season and have an update of how we're doing. It's a 18 team league, which means it should be a 34 game season. If I'm yes, 34 games. So I'm going to come back after 17, and we'll see how we're doing on it. And then we'll come back at the end of the season and see exactly where we finish. But guys, thank you for watching. Please remember to give me a thumbs up if you like what I'm doing here so far in Football Manager 24. Any comments, any tips, things like that massively helps me out. I'm not the best Football Manager player in the world, of course I'm not. I'm just an old man who likes to play video games. Yeah, cheers guys, and I'll hopefully see you in the next episode.